we watched the movie yesterday, and that song is very emotional. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Um, can you tell something about the story of the movie?
Yeah,
So you want
Byron,
me
you
to
want to
jump
jump
in?
in?
Sure, absolutely. About 5 years ago, almost to the day, we started talking about making a movie about family, about a big extended family, which is something new for Disney. Usually our films center around one or two characters and they go on a journey
Mm.
together and learn. Um, all of us on this call and Lin-Manuel, we all come from large extended families where you have a lot of people and a lot of family dynamics where sometimes perspective is a problem. This movie is really about how well does your family see you and how well do you see your family. And even from the start, the very moment we talked about this film, that stayed the true north of this film. And it all centers around this extraordinary family, the Madrigals, where every family role is represented by a magical gift, and every member of the family has something they give to the family and they give to the community, except for one young woman, Mirabel, who is our main character, who for some reason was not given a magical gift and nobody knows why. And the movie is a story about her journey to understand herself, to understand her family, and to understand the true nature of the magic that's been given to her family.
Mhm. And why is it in Colombia?
Well, that was, a really fun part of the process. As we were beginning trying to figure out what the story would be about, very quickly this notion of perspective and lots of points of view within families made a lot of sense. And we knew because Lin, when we teamed up with Lin-Manuel right from the beginning, he wanted to set in Latin America, but we were trying to figure out where. We wanted to bring in as much of Latin America as possible. We also had this idea that there's, a lot of different types of people that we want in our story. And Colombia, we found to be this crossroads of all of Latin America, where you get so many different traditions intermingling, and cultures and ethnicities and music and food and architecture. So it was a way to naturally bring in a lot of elements of Latin America, but also this very specific thing that you find in Colombia, which is, first off, it's the home of magical realism, which is really influenced Charise and I as we were writing the script. And it's a different type of magic that Disney has put in movies before. And then it's also, one of the most biodiverse places on the planet, and it has the greatest music on the planet. So everything said to us, Colombia is where this movie should be set.
Mhm. And it was difficult to create a story about three generations different of the same family.
It was definitely challenging. There are 12 main characters in this movie. And so making sure that they all felt like fully fleshed out people that we could really relate to, they all had interesting arcs in the movie, definitely took a lot of time. The process at Disney Animation, we screened the movie, in this case, 8 times over the course of development to make sure that we're getting closer and closer every time. And so it really did take all of that time, I'd say like really 3 years from our first screening to when it was released to really make sure that all those characters felt fleshed out and people that felt like people could relate to them, like people that they would know in their family. We started out with really zeroing in on relatable family archetypes for each of these characters, like the really strong, dependable one in the family, or the golden child, or the like really super emotional aunt. We wanted each of these characters to feel like family roles that everybody could really relate to and identify with.
Mhm. And what were the contribution of Lin-Manuel Miranda in the movie?
Well, it was a rare opportunity for us because of how the timing worked out. Jared and Lynn had just finished working on Moana, which turned out beautifully.
Mhm.
And of course, Jared and I had a great relationship from Zootopia. So the three of us started talking about getting Lynn in the very moment that we started talking about the film. And that's very rare. The fact that Lynn was with us the whole 5 years, the fact that he was able to go with us on the research trip was incredible. For him to go to these little towns with us and hear Colombian music in every form. And he was sort of a sponge. He absorbed all of this, and I think he was storing it away so that when he got back to his piano, he could start writing. And honestly, it was incredible. I'd never worked with Lynn before. Charise, I don't believe you had either. And so it was, for all of us to kind of watch his process was incredible. Like, he would work with Jared and Charise on the script ideas and evolving story ideas. And then we would sometimes all talk about an idea, like We Don't Talk About Bruno song, which is, I can't get it out of my head. It's so catchy. But there was a moment when we were talking about this being a spooky, gossipy song. And even on the Zoom call, he said, I think it's a spooky montuno. And he turned to the left and he started playing on his piano, and he literally played the first 3 chords from that song. So we saw him write the song in front of our eyes, which was pretty incredible. And then, like, the next week he sent us the whole song, but to actually see him process it was incredible. But it was a really rare collaboration, and I think you really feel it in this film, because he really feels like he was woven into the storytelling of what the film is.
Okay, you can say some news from Zootopia 2. I see the
Nice try.
You
know, I'd say so. A couple things that are exciting. Obviously, you know, these movies take your whole brain, and I think we've been really immersed in trying to finish this movie well with the team. But on Disney Plus, Trent Corey and Josie Trinidad have been working on a series called Zootopia Plus that continues some of the stories. We've seen some of those episodes, and they're fantastic. So there definitely will be more Zootopia stories coming to you soon.
Yeah. You think that this movie can win the Oscar?
I don't know. I mean, it would be it's a lovely thing to be nominated. You know, if that happens, and that's wonderful. I would say, you know, like when right now we've seen the movie, we've lived with it for 5 years. The biggest treat, I think, is going to be seeing people react to it over the next couple of weeks and telling us how they feel. That means so much to us, honestly. And I think for such a family movie, it's like the familiest of all family movies. I want to hear what my family hears, what they feel about it, and what Jared and Charise's family feel about it, and stuff. That's going to be the reward. That'll just keep giving. But always nominations are very, very nice, and it's always a nice thing.
Okay, for finish, I can say that the movie is amazing. Congratulations for this story. It's very emotional. You could say something more from the movie?
Oh, well, first off, that's really nice to say. I'd say, you know, this is a movie that, because of COVID, we all had to create at our homes. And so we have an amazing crew, hundreds of people that all had to go home. And so we made a movie about a family in their home with our families from our homes. So I think it all comes full circle. But I'd say, you know, none of this happens without the best crew in the world and people just bringing everything to this movie and pouring their whole hearts into it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you, David.
Bye. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi. Congratulations for the movie. It's amazing and very emotional. Congratulations.
Oh,
how did the story of the movie came about, and why you set in Colombia?
Well, early on, our directors, Byron and Jared, who had worked together on Zootopia, knew that they wanted to do a musical. And Jared Bush had worked closely with Lin-Manuel Miranda on Moana. And so the three of them got together and they wanted to tell this story about family. And they knew they wanted to set it somewhere in Latin America. And so through research, we do extensive research here at Disney Animation. And so through a lot of research, they started focusing in and kind of settling on Colombia, because they really found that Colombia is such a crossroads of all the different Latin cultures. And there's such a diverse, the country itself is so diverse. It's diverse in its people. It's diverse in its biodiversity. It's diverse in the music. And so it's such an amazing, beautiful country that we wanted to focus on there.
Okay. The movie is about the family. You think that we are losing that in our society, something about the importance of the family?
I don't think that's why we specifically wanted to tell the story, but I think there is truth to that. If I'm being honest with you, I feel like in today's world, there's so many other distractions that I think people can get pulled away from their families. But I think what in the research, as Yvette was saying, we did had a lot of conversations with people within Disney Animation who are Latinx to find out about their families. And I feel like it is it's such an important part of the Latin culture that it was nice to be able to really highlight that and to really share how amazing family is. And I think it's universal, right? We all have families around the world. And the real question of the film is, what do you know about your family? Do you really understand each of your siblings or your parents or your grandparents as well as you think you might? And I think for us, we kind of hope that the movie opens that door for people to sit down with their family members and ask more questions and try and find out who they are really behind who you see, every single day. And in so doing, hopefully that provides a stronger connection that goes forward.
What was the contribution of Lin-Manuel Miranda and Charise Castro for the mode, for the story?
Well, I think, like I said, Lin-Manuel came on very early on, and it was so great to work with him because he, it's not very common to have your songwriter on from the very, very beginning. And so because he was on from the very beginning, we were able to really, he was able to be such an integral part of the storytelling and creating the story. So much so he went on the research trip with Byron and Jared to Colombia and really was inspired by all the music down there and everything that they saw down there. And so really working with him was such a gift to our show because he was such an integral part of actually creating the story, where we would have weekly meetings with him and updating him on story. He would update us on like what he's thinking. And it was really such a great collaborative, a working relationship that we had with him.
How the pandemic affect the movie, the production?
So yeah, we started the actual production of the film right as the pandemic hit. So the entire production of this film was made from over 500 people's individual homes. And that's not easy. It's not easy in so many ways. But, technology allowed us to be able to do that. And people really worked hard to stay connected and to try to keep that collaboration that was talking about, which is so integral to our, sorry, my dog's barking, integral to our animation process. We really wanted to keep that and keep people connected. So it wasn't as easy to do, but it certainly was possible. And I think what is amazing is I look at this film and I think it's one of the most visually complex movies Disney Animation has ever made. I think it's stunningly beautiful, and that truly comes from the fact that people poured their heart and souls into it in the middle of a pandemic where they were trying to figure out how do they balance family and how do they handle the fact that there's all these uncertainties around COVID. And so I think we're just so incredibly proud of what the team created, and we think this film brings joy in it, and we hope that joy is something that the audience can find when they go to theaters to see it.
And can you tell us something about the story of the movie? So
yeah, Encanto is a story about a family that lives on an Encanto, which is a land that is like with heightened spirituality, we say, and there's magic that lives on these lands, and they live in a magical house. And every child born into this family receives, around their 5th birthday, receives a special gift. And it could be super strength, it could be the ability to heal, the ability to control the weather with your emotions. And every child born into this family was given a gift except for one, Mirabel. And so she's learned to grow, she's grown up in this family and she's accepted that she was the one that didn't get a gift, but then she discovers that there's something wrong with the magic. And so she decides that she's going to be the one to save the magic and save the family.
And in the movie are some moments with a little bit of terror. But you add that moment in the movie.
I'm sorry, which moment in the movie?
When it's a little bit, dark and a little bit with terror, and why you had that moment in the movie?
Well, I think that we always try to find a balance of excitement, and we really we make our movies for everyone and for all ages, and really within the movie we try to find that balance of finding excitement and finding suspense and really balancing that with comedy, with heart. And so really we feel like there's a little bit in this movie for everyone.
Now, important question. We will fight for the Oscar? For an Oscar? You think you will win the Oscar?
Oh, you know what? I think it's very early. We're so focused on we just barely finished the film, and we're so focused on trying to get it out. We're excited. We're actually just excited to share the film with the world, and we cannot wait for people to see this film.
Yeah, the movie is amazing. It's very, very emotional. And can you tell us something about the director that worked in the movie?
So, as Yvette was saying, Byron and Jared did Zootopia together. It was the first film they teamed up on together. And I think one of the amazing things about Byron and Jared is they really think deeply about creating a world that is magical. So in Zootopia, that magical world was, what if this world was all animals, it was predator and prey, and there was Tundra Town, and there was Sahara Square. In this world, they created this Encanto, this beautiful place, and all of the film really takes place in one house, which we've never done in a film. Usually we're out and about, but within that house are these magical rooms that go on forever. And I think that plus the fact that the house is actually a character because it's alive. It's a little bit like your loyal dog that has favorites within the family. I think that was one of the things for Yvette and myself that really excited us to be able to come in to be a part of this project. And then we brought in Charise Castro Smith, who's one of the co-writers and co-directors on the project. And she brought in so much around magical realism, which is a piece of literature that she just loves. And she brought in some really great elements that weren't there in the beginning. So I think it really, for Yvette and myself, it was three incredible directors who were each building off of each other in terms of the comedy they could bring, the emotion they could bring, the magic that they could bring to it. It was really a great experience.
Thank you very much, and one time more, congratulations. The movie is amazing.
Thank you, David.
Thank you so much, David. Nice to meet you.